I trust that your week has started on a great note, and also the month, because it's just the 3rd of August. Karibu sana, it is time for TV47 at 1. My name is Alela. Now we start off in the corridors of justice, where Mukurweini, a member of parliament, John Kagushia, has been arrested by detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. Now, the member of parliament was arrested at the Royal Media Services after spending a night at the station. Claims that police officers had surrounded the media house to apprehend him. Kagushia was arrested over links to remarks that he allegedly made during recent political gatherings. Kagushia is being investigated over what has been named as insightful remarks he made during a political gathering in Kieni constituency, that is in Nyeri County.
Kati yetu ni wabunge wa Wiper na wabunge wa DCP, na yale yametuleta hapa ni kwamba mmoja yetu amekuwa arrested this morning, na usiku mzima wameweka dragnet pale citizen offices, na wakamzuia mbunge wa Mukurweini kutoka kwa sababu walikuwa wamemzingira nje wamkamate usiku. Na ya mshangao ni kwamba waliokuja kumkamata ni hooded officers, na kisheria ni kwamba tulisema hakuna askari ambaye hawezi kwenda kukushika ama kukamata kama hajajitambulisha. Kwa hivyo mshangao ni kwamba hii mambo ya hooded, hatuwezi kutambua hooded officer ni nani ama hooded goons ni nani. Na leo tukisikiza habari ni kwamba muleta mbunge wa Mukurweini hapa ni mashtaka ya incitement, na tukiangalia mbunge ambaye ni mbunge sitting, ukimpatia summons atajileta hapa DCI. Kwa hivyo hatujui sababu kalala usiku mzima umemgoja mahali nje na umemnyima haki zake. Kwa hivyo tuko hapa tukitaka kujua haki za mbunge zimo wapi. Sasa hivi ni kwamba tangu walipoletwa hapa hakuna mtu anamshirikia. Yeye amekalia kiti tu pale, wakili wake wamezuiliwa kumuona, hata kuingia kwa geti mnatuona tuko nje kwa sababu hatumekatazwa kuingia ndani. Na hivyo tunashangaa kujua demokrasia na multipartyism ambayo tulimepigania kama nchi hii, kwani tunaenda tukirudi those dark days, na ni kwamba kama kila serikali ikija ni lazima inaturegesha tunarudi kwa zile mipango na mikakati ya miaka iliyopita, kwa ile katiba iliyopita. Yangu ni kusema Kenya imekuwa na imesonga mbele, na katiba tunayo leo ni katiba inakuwezesha ukikamatwa na askari unaruhusu wakili wako anakutembelea, anakusikiza. Hata kama uko detained unafaa wakili wako ana nafasi ya kuja kujua hali yako. Na kwa hivyo tungetaka kusema haraka iwezekanavyo tungeuliza DCI malizana na mbunge, kama kuna statement yanaandika andika statement, apelekwa kama anapelekwa kotini, tumalizana. Lakini haki zake, yeye ni mtu wa kuhudumu raia, na hakuna haja kumweka kama mabusu hapa the whole day. Na kwa hiyo yetu ndio tunangoja, na mpaka sasa tuna matarajio kwamba DCI ataamurisha hayo yatendeke ili tuone haki kitendeka.
We have not been able to access him. We do not know of his whereabouts. We do not know his status. We do not know the reason he has been arrested. His phone has been confiscated. He has not been allowed to access any member of the family or the advocates. So we are still waiting to hear the directions from the DCI himself to confirm to the country whether the member of parliament for Mukurweini is within their custody, whether they have arrested him, and they disclose the location. Because it's important for us to know where Kagushia has been, whether there is
Well, we'll follow up on that story to give you more updates later. Now, the case involving the missing fisherman Brian Odhiambo is now gaining momentum as the second last KWS officer Abdul Rahman Sudi, who is also the driver alleged to have ferried Brian Odhiambo, that is after his arrest on January 18th, 2025, during an operation that allegedly resulted in a disappearance, or his disappearance, is also defending himself. Let's cross over to the Nakuru Law Courts and get what is happening.
Mashahidi waliohudhuria katika hiyo identification parade ni nani?
Alikuwa Joseph Macharia Mwangi na Alex Maina Ng'ang'a.
Je, waliweza kumtambua afande wa Shira katika hiyo identification parade?
La, hawakuweza.
Je, waliweza kutambua yoyote kati ya washukiwa 6 ambao wako leo mahakamani ukiwemo wewe?
Hawakuweza kutambua.
Je, ungependa kutoa stakabadhi hizi hapa mahakamani kama ushahidi wako?
Ndio.
They being produced by the prosecution?
No, they are not.
The ID?
They were not produced. Unaweza kuitambua hii stakabadhi ni nini?
Father affidavit.
Also details on that later. The International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA regional meeting on sustainable energy planning hosted by EPRA has officially commenced in Nairobi. Now, delegates from across the different parts of Africa, that is including Tunisia, Tanzania, Ghana, South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, have gathered alongside key experts and dignitaries to explore balanced energy modeling, future electricity demand, renewable integration, and the potential of nuclear power.
For integrated planning that recognizes the strong interdependencies between climate, land use, energy, and water. The IEA's Climate, Land Use, Energy, and Water System Framework provides a practical and evidence-based approach for understanding these complex interactions. By enabling us to evaluate trade-offs, identify synergies, assess the wider impact of development decisions, the framework supports more coherent policies, more resilient investment strategies. This approach is fundamental to achieving the objectives of our national plan. By integrating the interdependencies between water for irrigation, land for agriculture, energy for development, and climate resilience, we can make better informed decisions that are sustainable and equitable. The findings from such integrated modeling are valuable for guiding policies that ensure resource efficiency, enhance economic development, and strengthen resilience against the impacts of climate change. Kenya has long recognized the value of integrated planning. Our experience with geothermal development, where we manage the interplay between energy generation, water resources, and land use, has taught us that holistic approaches yield better outcomes. We are eager to share these lessons and equally eager to learn from your experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Kenya remains committed to sustainable energy development and regional collaboration. We are proud.
The health workers' strike has entered day 4. Now the workers are currently addressing the media in Nairobi. Let's cross over and listen into that.
About the payslip, you must have an accompanying letter that is supposed to be given by the county government. So up to this day, we have no idea whatsoever as to why the counties have refused to do what they are supposed to do, irrespective of the fact that they have already been given 8.9 billion by the parliament to effect PNP status for both the UHC workers as well as the Global Fund staff who are deployed under the TB program. And I think where we have reached, and as we have kept saying, and I think for us we are saying that we are welcoming the conversation that His Excellency the President is saying that Kenyans should have. And at the forefront should actually be the conversation about our health care. It is becoming evident by the day and by the handling of these issues by the Council of Governors that health has become a weight too heavy for the Council of Governors and the counties to bear. And these are not political statements. Our county governments have been unable to hire staff. And that is why in 2020, when we were starting our universal health coverage, and in appreciation of the gap and the staffing shortfalls that we were having, that could not enable us to start off on the universal health coverage program, the national government had to come in, and they had to employ the UHC staff, about 9,500 by then, and deploy them to counties. When COVID-19 struck, if you can remember, the counties could not still be able to handle, and they had to also engage the national government to engage another cohort of contracts under the COVID-19 response, who are still on contract up to date, and then deploy them to counties. So what we are saying is that it is evident, and today we are here to talk to the public because the governors, as is evident, are not listening, do not want to listen, and they simply do not care about the citizenry. As we stand here, hospitals are closed across the country. If you have
In the same breath, medical services in Trans Nzoia County continue to face further disruption after the nurses' union vowed to join their counterparts nationwide in a strike to press for their demands against both county and the national government to work out on their CBA. Led by the union's Trans Nzoia County Secretary, that is Edward Cheriot, the nurses have insisted they will not return to work until the national government and the Council of Governors step up to implement the agreement reached in 2017. The matter of permanent unemployment for some staff currently on contract remains a major grievance for the nurses, who claim the government has failed to honor its promises regarding their employment on permanent basis.
We have been talking about the city. We have negotiated at the county. Unfortunately, the Council of Governors requested that this thing be negotiated centrally. However, after formation of the Central Negotiating Committee, the same COG has scuttled the process. And we are saying you must come back to the table, negotiate, conclude, SRC to approve and give us a go-ahead so that we can come back. Secondly, we have a long-standing agreement of 2017 touching on our nursing service allowance and our uniform allowance. We negotiated, and the county, the governments on both levels agreed. We came back again at the county level, and we agreed that the implementation matrix was to end in April 2026. However, the county government did not honor. Now it has become a nationwide issue. So until the national government, the COG, the Treasury, SRC, gives an implementation matrix for the 2017 agreement, then all the nurses in this country shall continue being on strike.
15 minutes past the top of the hour. We take a quick short break. We still have more news coming your way after that.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho as in kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka. Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mkorada yangu. Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yaani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo ni tonga commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho as in kesho ya tomorrow.
Your turn. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka. Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need 3 G's to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimeekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunyuma.
Oh my God. You left me.
Nitumie ni live.
Uko nje kuna wifi.
Why? Hi-fi? Wait, so what do we call this dish again?
I have no idea.
The cucumbers are there specifically for my beauty routine.
Tamulini kero make a beauty product.
Na ameenda.
Tunafaa tukuwe na logo yetu. Like, si ni brand already.
Me won't entertain divas.
No. I'm not dealing with a man child.
Amazing. Nishapenda hii energy.
Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on TV.
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 at 1. Now, the university's academic staff union WASU, University of Nairobi branch, is opposing the Public Service Commission's PSC decision to lower the retirement age for lecturers and professors in public universities across the country. The academics argue that such a move will undermine the country's higher education system by limiting research, innovation and mentorship in universities. Here is what is unfolding.
Which have lowered the retirement age for professors and academic staff in public universities. The new policy lowers the retirement age of professors from 74 years to 70 years, and that of senior lecturers and other academic staff from 74 years to 64 years and below. The University of Nairobi, Kenya's oldest and leading university, this policy will trigger mass layoffs of academic staff with devastating consequences, including the possible elimination of entire academic disciplines and the collapse of the University of Nairobi pension scheme. Since 2020, the University of Nairobi has frozen employment as a cost containment measure due to severe underfunding. Since then, The university has not recruited a single lecturer.
All right, a section of Nandi County residents who support the Kenya administration have come out to condemn remarks that were made by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, in which he claimed to have launched an operation to remove President William Ruto and his supporters from power. According to the residents, Gachagua's remarks referring to President William Ruto as a snake and his allies as eggs were disrespectful to the head of state and undermined the dignity of the presidency. Speaking in Himaki town, that is in Nandi County, the residents expressed concerns over the remarks, saying that they could incite hostility and deepen political divisions.
Tumesikitishwa na maneno ambayo naibu aliyekuwa rais Rigathi Gachagua aliongea kuhusu rais, mpaka anamchokoza rais, anamuita nyoka. Sasa sisi kama wa supporters wa William Ruto tunaona sisi ndio mayai.
Tunapenda kueleza masikitiko yetu kuhusu kauli zilitolewa na Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua dhidi ya rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa William Ruto, ambapo alitumia lugha inayodalilisha heshima ya ofisi ya rais.
Sisi kama wamama tumekasirika sana kwa ajili ya matamshi ya Amunyoro kumuita Rais William Ruto nyoka. Kama wamama sahi ama watoto wa nyoka, sasa tutaenda wapi?
Tungeomba NCIC ichunguze matamshi ya Rigathi Gachagua aliyekuwa naibu wa rais. Haya maneno imetutia wasiwasi sana, hasa sisi wakaaji wa Nandi ambayo tunajiona kama mayai, vile mwenzangu amesema sisi ndio mayai. Tafadhali NCIC ichukue hatua mapema na haraka.
Tunataka tumwambie Bwana Rigathi Gachagua, hiyo matamshi ulitumia ni vibaya sana, uliharibu mdomo, na sisi tukiwa Kenya, sisi wote ni wa Kenya. Watu wa mlima na watu wa Nandi wote, ama hata huko chini, sisi ni wa Kenya.
Well, from politics, poultry farming continues to play a critical role in supporting household incomes and strengthening Kenya's agribusiness sector. However, many small-scale farmers are grappling with rising production costs and poor farming practices that have slowed growth in the industry. Brian Odhiambo reports on that.
At 70 years old, retired teacher Zedekiah Onyango starts every morning tending to his poultry. For years, the enterprise has provided a steady source of income for his family after he left the teaching profession. But like many other small-scale poultry farmers, Onyango says the rising cost of poultry feeds has become a major obstacle, eating into profits and reducing production on his farm.
I used to supplement commercial feeds, but I was lacking minerals. Now the challenges that we are getting is just on feeds. Feeds are very expensive. That is the major challenge we are having.
To reverse the trend, stakeholders have launched a farmer empowerment program targeting small-scale poultry keepers with practical training on modern production techniques, disease control, and business management. According to program officials, the country's low poultry output has created a gap in the market, forcing traders to source eggs from neighboring Uganda.
When we were doing our initial pilot project in Kisumu, we identified that most of the eggs, it comes from Uganda. And that's why we decided to empower the rural communities. We want to, in future, do the production unit, whereby we will be doing our own feed formulation, and also through our cooperative we'll look for market linkages, and at the same time we'll make sure that the farmers, they get the prices of the farm produce at a subsidized price.
Beyond training, the program is also addressing infrastructure challenges that continue to affect poultry farming by constructing modern poultry houses to improve hygiene and reduce poultry deaths.
Normally, poultry farmers face challenges like high poultry mortality. The houses that we are also going to build them are standardized houses that are integrating the components that a smallholder farmer needs.
The program offers renewed hope that poultry farming can once again become a profitable and sustainable livelihood. Brian Odhiambo, TV47, Homa Bay.
Thank you, Brian, for that. Now, the national government, in collaboration with Embu County government, has rolled out various water projects in Runyenje's constituency to end perennial water shortage and curb waterborne diseases. Runyenje's Water and Sanitation Company chairperson, Josek Gai, said that over 2,000 people are set to benefit from clean drinking water piped into their homes, with the government releasing 1.7 billion Kenya shillings to lay pipes in areas such as Kigumo, Karurumo and Kathanjuri. He said the projects will reduce waterborne diseases for residents who have been fetching water from rivers. The Borana Council of Elders has dismissed claims that the Borana community is planning to ditch the ruling United Democratic Alliance for the Democracy for Citizens Party following a meeting between some of its members and DCP officials. Speaking in Isiolo, Borana Council of Elders chairperson Mohammed Konso said the council has not endorsed any political realignment, maintaining that members who met DCP Secretary General John Methu did so in their individual capacities and should not be taken to represent the council officials' position. Now, despite reaffirming its position, the elders expressed concern over unresolved matters affecting the Borana community, that is including delays in the registration of community land, poor governance in Isiolo County, and the allocation of community land for administration police training without adequate consultation. The council urged the government to address the concerns, saying they remain its priority rather than political party affiliations. And the Methodist Church Laity Fellowship has called on Kenyans to reject political expediency, uphold the rule of law, and elect leaders who demonstrate integrity, accountability, and respect for the Constitution. Speaking during the 3rd National Laity Fellowship Convention in Mazeras, the fellowship cautioned politicians against reckless and divisive statements, saying responsible leadership is critical to national unity. The Methodist Church leadership was also urged to fully implement the deed of church order to resolve long-lasting leadership wrangles, with members saying adherence to the governing framework will restore unity and strengthen governance. And now to sports. Harambee Starlets are set to lock horns with Algeria in an enticing Group A encounter at the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations after being eliminated from the tournament. Kenya suffered a 4-0 defeat to hosts Morocco in their opening game before a 1-0 loss to Senegal in the second match that ended their hopes of reaching the knockout stage. The Starlets will now face Algeria with one goal in mind, securing Kenya's first ever WAFCON victory and ending their campaign on a positive note. Fight. And Cabra's Sugar RFC reclaimed their Dallas Sevens title after coming from behind to defeat Menengai Oilers 17-5 in the 2026 final on Sunday at the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium in Mamboleo, Kisumu. The win marks the first title for the 2026 National Sevens circuit, as they hope to clinch the overall title come the end of the circuit. Mwamba Rugby sealed third place following an impressive 27-22 win over Kenya Harlequins in the playoff, while KCB Rugby rode past Strathmore Leos to seal 5th place in the Dala Showdown. And to a story that we had carried earlier on, before I get to close, I just give you updates of it, is that a Member of Parliament, John Kagusha, has now been ferried from the DCI headquarters to Kamkunji Police Station. That is in relation to what he has been captured for, as they say that it is because he has made utterances that are divisive, and therefore you can see the DCP members of, or members of the DCP also just following to get to know the updates in what they claim is harassment and, an arrest that is not warranted. So we'll be also following up keenly to get the updates of the same. As you can see, live pictures in Kamukunji as they follow to see what will happen to the legislator. And so we'll be giving you these updates later on. So make sure that you keep it TV47 for that. And yes, that's the march we had this afternoon. We still have more that we are preparing to disseminate to you at 4 p.m., 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. respectively. So make sure that you keep it here. My name is Linda Alela. I close TV47 at 1. Good afternoon.